Hey guys, so it's me Nicolette Mashile, and today I want to talk a little bit about purchasing or acquiring income generating assets. Basically creating little soldiers to be able to make you some money, right? Now remember that none of my videos constitute as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody who is certified and registered with the FSCA. So, by the way, I'm still sorry. I still apologize about my hair, guys. You guys are just gonna have to bear with me. I know you guys want to see some beautiful people on these videos, but you're just gonna have to bear with me on this one up until I actually get my hair done, right? So anyway, the other day I tweeted about the fact that people need to buy assets, and I made the mistake of making an example. By the way, I must tell you, I actually wrote EG, and EG in my world means example. But you know how Twitter people are, they're very edgy, they're very triggered. If you are talking especially about personal finances, people get upset, right? And I made the example of saying buy property, and people are like, yeah, we can't afford property. What makes you people think that property is the only asset? No, that's not what we're saying, darlings. Property is definitely not the only asset. And the thing is, it's probably the easiest one to speak about because a lot of people know and understand that property is an appreciating asset. But you know what? I actually want to take the L and admit to the fact that whenever we speak about assets, we always talk about property. So you'll go out and say to people, have you bought an asset this year? And people are like, yeah, I'm still really planning for it. Can't really afford it, because they think that if somebody speaks about buying assets, they automatically speaking about buying property. And by the by, just an ad break. People who say property is not the easiest or whatever, because how are you buying a house? Because if you're buying a house on a bond, it's going to take you like 20 years for you to break even, because there are rates and taxes that you got to pay. And I understand that, and I sympathize with you, because what I really want to say to you is that you did not buy your property properly. And it's just, you're just not doing it right. What's that thing that they say about sex? If you don't like it, it's because you're probably not doing it right. It's the same thing about an asset like property. You're probably not doing it right. And yes, granted, yes, I'm not saying that it is easy, because it's not easy. Nothing in life is easy. If it was easy, we would all be doing it, right? The reality is, if you are going to buy a property, you're going to buy a property because your ego wants to buy a property, because you want it to be the year of keys. No, that's not how you buy a property. You don't buy a property to be able to floss to other people. You buy a property because you've sat down and you've done the numbers, and the numbers actually make sense. So not just because you go to the bank and the bank says to you, yes, we will push out an approval on your bond and you can afford this property, it means that you automatically should buy it. No, guys, that's not how it works when it comes to buying assets. Any type of asset, not even just property. Let me give you an example. I've got this family friend who bought property, right? And she bought her property at, I think, 700,000 rand for an apartment, a 2-bedroom. Great stuff. We were all clapping for her. Everybody was excited. Literally a couple of months down the line, she came to me and she said to me, Nicolette, I'm actually struggling. This thing is not making me money the way I actually thought it will make me money, right? But I've spoken to a lot of people, and a lot of people saying I must just hold on. It will eventually make money. Hey, Wanana, that's stupid. Let me tell you why I say it's stupid. I say it's stupid because it basically says you are standing at the beginning of the race. We're about to run the 100 meters, yeah. You know you've got a broken ankle, and you are just running, because it's not about the race. It's not about who crosses first. It's about the fact that you cross. No, guys, you can't do that when it comes to building wealth. You can't say, I already know I've got a disadvantage, but it's fine. I'm going to just wait it out and pray to God something great happens. What if we go into another property depression, guys? What's going to happen? You're going to lose, and you're going to keep losing? No, guys, you need to do the math when you're buying property. You need to make sure that your property, even if it's not really generating you the income and the profit that you want, but at some level it needs to start generating profit, and you got to decide how long you're willing to wait for it to start generating. It's got to break. Guys, property is a business. It's not a hobby. It's not a thing that you do so that you can show people how great you are and the fact that you've got assets. And oh my goodness, you got a house, you're a homeowner. #homeowners, #girls with houses. No, it's a business, especially if you're buying as an investment. It's a business. If you're buying because it's the house that you want to live at, great stuff for you, but you must still have an exit plan for the house that you want to live in. It's not a matter of you just buying a house because you want to, whatever. Anyway, so going back to at break over. Going back to the conversation about assets. It's very important for us to make it very clear to people that assets is not just property. There are various assets in which you can look into. You need to determine which asset is suitable for your life. So again, on Twitter, where people are triggered, I made the example that you could start buying assets by starting to buy chickens. Chickens, as simple as that. Chickens. Then the first thing people were like, yeah, but where are you going to keep chickens? We live in flats, Nicolette. We live in apartments. We live in estates where chickens are not. Hey, it means that the chicken asset is not for you. Move on. Stop trying to make your reality everybody else's reality, okay? Relax. The principle is that you must learn that you need to buy assets. We can't run away from that, guys. Your net worth, basically. So I've got a love-hate relationship with my bank, right? And I'll tell you why. So on the one hand, I really love them because they're very innovative, they're very amazing, and they're great peeps, right? On the other side, they've got all these damn features that tell me how poor I am every single day. And in as much as that is not great for my ego, at the same time, it's pushing me and it's pushing me and it's pushing me. Why? Because one of the features they've got there is to show me what my net worth is, right? So I need to input what my liabilities are, so my home loans. Unfortunately, I don't have car loans, so I only have a home loan really, which is like sitting on my neck. It's sitting here. I can feel it every single day. I feel that home loan, right? So that's my biggest liability, right? And then obviously my assets is my properties, whatever, my cash, my gold coins, and all the things, the investment accounts that I have. So what they do is they will take my liabilities and they'll take my assets and they will minus my liability and give me what my net worth is, right? So every single year I have given myself the financial goal of building my net worth to grow a little bit. Even if it grows by 10%, I feel better about myself. Generally, what will happen is that it will if you increase your assets. So just because you pay your liabilities doesn't mean that your net worth is going to grow, right? You gotta buy assets because the formula is asset minus liability equals net worth, right? So the principle of buying assets is not something we need to even be negotiating. The question now is, what are the assets that people can possibly buy? There are so many, guys, but they are going to be attached to your financial goals. And what are some of the things that you would like to achieve, how quickly you want to achieve them, and how well you understand those assets. Let me tell you what assets are for me. Assets are foot soldiers. You know, when we talk about money working for you, that's what assets really are. Assets are meant to help you make sure that your money works for you. Now, your money is not going to work for you if it's just chilling, right? Idle money gets bored. So you need to make sure that your money gets tied up in some sort of asset that is generating income so that your money starts working for you. It's really that simple. Yes, chickens might not be for everybody, but let me tell you that most farmers, those who didn't have resources and couldn't start off by scaling and having like 100 chickens, started with 1 or 2 chickens. In actual fact, when I remember correctly, we have a pen at home, right? And most of the time we used to have female chickens, hens, whatever they're called. And we didn't have a cock, or whatever it's called, a cock, a male chicken, whatever it's called. So what my mother would do, she will go next door and she will ask to use their, a rooster. Is it a rooster? Their rooster, and she would put it in our chicken pen, and those two things will do what they need to do, and then all of a sudden we go eggs and we go more chickens. That's literally how we used to do it. So if you really want to actually build your wealth using chickens, it is possible, even if you have 1 chicken. But the problem is, some of you people are too clever that you don't want to use that cleverness of yours to actually think, okay? Yes, the chicken might not be the only asset. There are other assets. Shares are assets, but they are volatile assets. So you got to sit down and actually ask yourself whether you need, because you're going to diversify, right? And yes, Warren Buffett says if you're over diversifying, it means that you're not really sure what you are doing. Granted, understood, Warren Buffett, top up to you. But for some of us who are trying, we're going to try all the assets. So I always say you must have 3 different classes of assets. That's how I do it in my life. I have my very low risk assets, I've got my medium risk assets, and I've got my aggressive assets. And obviously shares fall into my aggressive assets, because really what happened to Steinhoff, I believe can happen to anybody at any time. So I keep shares in my aggressive skin assets. Then I've got my property, which I've put in the middle part, because property, in as much as it's very conservative and it's safe, it still has the ability to become volatile or really do badly. And then in my non-risk, I've put things like your tax-free account, which I know is a tax-free account. I mean, for me, like, there's absolutely no risk, depending again on what type of tax-free account you've got. You either have a tax-free savings account or you've got a tax-free investment account. So you need to also read up on that and understand what it is that you've got. So yeah, guys, I'm just saying, we can close off the year, close it off with some assets or a plan to start acquiring some assets. I'm tired, guys. I'm tired of talking. So, mwah!